Hey, what's up? It's Whistle, and welcome back to another attempt of me playing Iron Teeth. Hopefully, this one winds up going a little bit better. If you guys did miss the last attempt at this faction, go ahead and watch the video. I will try to remember to link it on down below for you. But otherwise, we are just gonna go ahead and get into it. I did go a little bit into background and such of this faction in the last episode, so I don't want to waste any more time on that. So we're going to start off with our normal pathways and stuff to go get water. Pretty standard start here. Also, full disclosure, as I'm doing all this stuff, this is now my third attempt at getting this done. Unfortunately, I had my second attempt, which I did immediately after my first one. It was really good, but I forgot to hit the record button. So I went for like 30 minutes and didn't record any of it. So instead of starting where I was at about half an hour playing, I figured I may as well start over. So here we are. So yeah, pretty standard start. We're gonna get all of our normal stuff down before we get any time going really. So I'm gonna get a gatherer flag up here, and let's do a pathway, even if it's just a quick pathway out this way. And let's get a couple lumberjacks built. And we're also going to increase our builders to 4. Now that should wind up getting us ready to go. So a couple mistakes that I made in the first one, in case you guys still have not seen it at this point. Oops. I was marking these trees here for demolition, which does not leave you any resources once they get destroyed. It just gets them out of the way. So that definitely did not help anything, because obviously I wasn't getting any wood. So I chopped down like a whole bunch of this stuff and it just no wood out of it, so that obviously slowed us down a lot. Other thing that I wound up doing is not increasing the working hours as we were close, because I think if I did that like a day or so out from the drought, we probably would have been able to build this last dam here, and we would have been fine. But unfortunately, that's not really the case. We're gonna try to redo it and hope this one goes better, I guess. We do have a little bit of food being built, or I'm sorry, food being gathered, because you guys can see we only have 90 food to start with, and then whatever berries we wind up collecting. And we do not start with any water, because we're playing hard mode once again, so that means that resources are harder to come by, and the Iron Teeth themselves just get less resources than the other faction does. That's part of what makes them a little bit more difficult. So yeah, we're gonna get a farmhouse planted, or I'm sorry, we're gonna get a farmhouse placed, and we'll just get some carrots going. I don't need or really want to go super duper crazy with the carrots. Something like that should be more than enough to kind of sustain them for a while, because if you guys did not know, they're only going to reproduce if I have breeding pods down. They are not like the folktales where they will breed based on what population is available based on housing, etc. These guys need this building here in order to breed. So we will have to work on that at some point, because I don't want to get to the point where all my beavers are super old and about to die before that becomes an issue, but I just need to get like the basic structure of life down. All right, and as our second day opens up, we are doing pretty good. This dam is almost done, which theoretically means we're a third of the way being done with the dam, which means that theoretically we should be able to make it through our first route relatively easily. And then after that, they're going to start building this farmhouse. And once I have both of those down, I think I'm going to feel safe enough to start bringing in extra beavers. Because I don't want to overpopulate, because we don't have enough food, really, if we're being honest. And maybe I should probably even put down a couple water things before I start doing anything too crazy. I don't need a whole bunch, maybe 3 of those, that should be fine. But there is a good amount of wood up here, so that should help us get going. We'll just have to keep an eye on what areas we're cutting in and all that stuff, which while I'm doing that, I'll just mark all of this to be cut. Should be fine. Cool. And I'm going to try my best to leave these trees down here, because until I unlock the lumber mill and then the forester, which is going to take a little bit, I am not going to have a source of harvestable trees. Like, I'll have this stuff over here, which I'm just gonna let grow. I'm not gonna touch that. That's this tree patch here and this stuff here is gonna be like my emergency trees. So I'm gonna try my best to get all of the trees out of here, all these dead ones, and not touch any of the living ones, I think. Obviously, if I need to chop down a couple to finish up something, that's fine. But the goal is to not build too much too quickly, I think. Because I think that's where I got into an issue the last time as well, where it just kind of... I tried to build way too much with the amount of time that I had and the amount of resources that I had available to me, as well as the couple other stupid mistakes that I wound up making along the way. But we can see up on the top, we're already down to 69 food. So we do need to get this farmhouse going relatively soon. If I remember correctly, the first drought came on like day 6 or 7. So I'm going to kind of plan for that, and I know I'm just kind of doing a lot of talking and not much is really happening, but we are in that portion of the game where there's just not much to do, unfortunately. I could feasibly also get a second gatherer flag, but I think just having the one is going to be fine. Especially if I can get this farmhouse going relatively quickly as well. Also, having a third lumberjack will help because I just need wood effectively at this point. And I will, once this is all done, I'll put a path up to here. There's a bunch more wood up here to get as well. So I think we should be fine. Long-term plans while all this is going on in the background. I need to, once I unlock stairs and stuff, I need to put a dam up here because this is going to be a pretty decent reservoir for us. It'll be like 2 blocks tall all the way there. And then I can put a dam in, even if I just get one like here, right? That's like 4 or 5 blocks high. I think this is the lower side, so whatever that one is. But that's going to be a ton of water. So if once I get stairs and stuff, this is probably going to be my main water source for a little bit. And then I will have this as like an emergency reserve to get this area, fertile again for my crops, because I'll probably have the farms and such in here. And then wind up moving industry and housing and the like, maybe over here or something like that. But kind of the loose plans at the moment. And ooh, look at that. The dam is done. It's probably been done for a minute, but I was busy talking. But that's awesome news. So that is going to help us out a whole bunch. Cool. So at least I don't necessarily have to worry about running out of water, which is good. This one pump should be able to sustain the population that we have. So that is awesome. I'm going to pause the game super quick. Yes, looking at this. Providing shelter to our little beavers will increase their life expectancy by 25%. And that is a massive number. Obviously, walking speed is pretty good too. It never hurts to have them moving around a little bit quicker, but just the walking speed thing, I think, is something that I can't really, ignore. So, let's see. If I do something like this, I can get a path up through there still. So yeah, we'll start with that. That can at least house 10 to start with. I don't necessarily think I need to build another one, but we'll see. Otherwise, let me just get this pathed up here. There we go. Oop, I'm gonna learn my my little hotkeys here and not click all over the place. I did also learn another fun little shortcut while I was playing the beta version. I think it should be in this one. Hopefully it is. But if you click on a building, and let's say I don't want to gather anything anymore, right? You just hit the P button, and that pauses it. Or unpauses it. So that makes it a lot quicker if you're if you're trying to move a bunch of beavers to different places. You just pause the whole building, or series of buildings if it's the case of lumberjack flags or something, and they'll just move on to the next thing, which is super awesome. I never knew that existed, but I'm apparently still learning how to play this game efficiently or something. And our farmhouse is built, so we are starting to place some carrots. And let's go ahead and just watch this guy as he does it. So we're getting some carrots placed, and carrots will also increase our life expectancy, which is super, super awesome, because obviously the longer that they live, the less I have to worry about the whole breeding pods situation, which, saying that out loud, I should probably start to work on that. But I at least want to get these carrots done and stuff first. And I really, really hope that I can continue with this series and not have to start over again. But I figure once I make it through probably like episode, I don't know, maybe like the 4th, 5th, something like that episode. Once I'm through that, I should be at least at a point where I'm not going to have anything catastrophic in terms of like all of my beavers die. I might still have an issue where a large percentage, unfortunately, don't make it through a dry season or something like that, but I should have enough to kind of salvage and rebuild with whatever I wind up having. That seems to kind of be the sweet spot, and I'm assuming it's about the same in hard mode. Because basically hard mode just means you get less resources and the droughts last longer, but if I move quick enough with this kind of stuff, should be relatively okay. And we have our water tank built. We have a couple more that are... Yeah, this one's about halfway, so that's cool. Let me start putting down a couple breeding pods, I think. I don't really want to go super crazy. Maybe we'll start with 3. I think 3 is a pretty decent number. I hope. And then I can always put some more in there if I need to. But as I talked about it a little bit in the last attempt, I guess, at this, but you have to kind of play a balancing game once the beavers wind up getting old enough, because if you wind up not making enough babies, your population is just going to slowly decrease, and if you make too many babies, you're not necessarily going to have enough food, especially in the hard mode, because you can go through food pretty quickly, which, looking at food, we are doing that pretty well. So, might be worth it to put down another gatherer flag and hope. I figured this stash of berries would last a little bit longer, but I was wrong. So once we get this built, I'm probably going to take away probably somebody from the farm once all this gets planted, because there's no need to have 2 farmers here if there's no carrots to collect. So let's just chop that back down to 1. We'll get a second one collecting berries, and hopefully that should be enough to sustain us at least until these grow. Because I think carrots grow in, 4 days. We're already on day 2, and our 3rd water tank is finally done. I suppose we haven't really waited for too long in anything in this episode, but 3rd one being done is good, because that means that we can now hold, if I'm doing the math correctly, 105 water, including the 15 storage that we can have in the water pump, so that should be more than enough. And our berry situation actually looks pretty good as well. We're up to 30. And then the next thing is this house, which we are halfway done. I kind of talked about it a little bit in the last episode, but this house can hold 10, or this barracks rather. So it can hold 10. Obviously they don't breed in it, so it's just kind of a place for them to stay. It increases life expectancy, as I've talked about several times at this point. But it holds a lot of beavers for the cost of it. Relatively speaking, it's an extra 1 or 2 beavers for the log amount versus the other faction. And this isn't even the biggest one. This is just the base house. They do get a little bit bigger. So this holds 16. The large barrack does. And then there's also these slim ones, which are really nice. We will we'll definitely be utilizing that soon. And by soon, I mean later on in the series. But just like that, we do have a drought coming in. So we have to be careful with that and hope that things go well, because we have 3 days left. So I think we're doing pretty good, because these carrots should wind up coming in around the time of the drought, which is good. This should be done. We should even get started on the breeding pods, I hope. And I guess, to be honest, at this point, I'm going to just set it to 3 times speed. I don't think that there's anything else that I can really do, except maybe... Let's just put down some more carrots. Extra food never hurt anyone, I guess. Because worst case, if this winds up drying up, then I'll just have some extra food that we can wind up collecting, hopefully. I know the berries stay fresh for a pretty decent amount of time, but... Ooh, and our first breeding pod is done, as well as the house. So here it says it's waiting for nutrients, so it's just waiting for water and berries to get delivered, and it has this little bar here, which if I wait long enough, it will wind up slowly creeping up. And yeah, you can see it's just kind of ticking up ever so slightly. And this will... It does consume water and berries as it goes. So this is something that, especially early on, I'm probably going to turn off during the droughts. Or even get them to the point where they're like right here, just in case I do need to open them up and get some beavers pretty quickly. Obviously, they have to grow into adults, so it's not something where I can just like click a button and I have just a beaver I can use for stuff. But I think that's going to be the way to do things. And hopefully 3 is enough. I'm a little hesitant because I think we're going to start to run through our berries pretty quickly, but our carrots should be coming in around the time we run out of berries, if I'm doing my guesstimation correctly. And then if I kind of have carrots as the main food, they won't really need to go after the berries for food, and we can use that for reproducing. And I will, at some point, once my colony gets bigger, I will have to dedicate a forester to berries. Not necessarily the full area of a forester, but I'll have to have an area probably about the size of this area here, just dedicated to berries in order to make babies, in order to not lose any population. And let's see, I have 39 wood, so probably not a terrible idea to just place down, oops, I don't want to do that one, to place down a couple more of these small water tanks. Because if they fill up with water even a little bit, that's just a little extra water going into the dry season, which is never, ever, ever, ever going to be a bad thing. Because yeah, they're already about half full or so, which I think these are as well. So I don't know if they just moved them around or what, but we should be pretty okay. And actually, thinking about it, I don't have any storage buildings. So let me pause the game super, super quick. And we will get one of those placed down. Actually, while I'm thinking of it, let me just set this area to be chopped. They should be able to reach that. And storage. We'll do a small warehouse. That fits perfectly, but I don't really want to waste green space just in case. Maybe. You know what, right here is probably about as good of a spot as any, I suppose. Early on, it doesn't really matter all that much where you put stuff. I'm kind of preparing for later in the game, but I don't really know what I want to do and where. So we are coming up on our first dry season. Let's speed it up a little bit and let's see how long it is. I'm hoping it's like 4 days. I think we should be fine. 5 might start to push it. But we will see what happens when all of this winds up getting done. And we are approaching the morning, so we should see here shortly how long our drought's going to be. Looking at the arrow up in the top right. Oh boy, we are starting off with a 5-day long drought. However, I'm going to leave that for the start of this next episode, so that way I can at least get 2 episodes out of this. So hopefully more. I'm not really planning on losing this. I'm dedicated to defeat it. So I do want to thank all of you for watching. It's super appreciated. If you like it, drop a like. If you like what I'm doing at the channel, please subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Otherwise, leave a comment down below. And otherwise, I hope all of you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are at. And as always, remember to do something kind.